There's a quiet law at work in this world, a law that doesn't shout, doesn't demand, and yet shapes the destiny of every man and woman on this earth. It's not talent, not luck, not timing. It's something far simpler and far more powerful. Something so overlooked it almost feels like a trick of fate. But it's not. It's a force that belongs to you. Always has. Always will. They call it the magic word. And that word is attitude. Not the fake kind. Not the surface-level smile or the hollow motivational pep talk. I'm talking about the attitude that lives in your bones, the one that whispers to you when the world goes silent. The attitude that shows up before the money, before the recognition, before the success. Because here's the truth most people will never tell you. Life mirrors your attitude, always, without fail. Take a man with a poor attitude toward learning, and you'll find someone who never learns. Take a woman who doubts herself before she even begins, and you'll watch her surrender dreams that were always within reach. But take someone, anyone, and change their attitude, and you change everything. Because your attitude is the lens through which you see yourself. And how you see yourself determines what you allow, what you fight for, what you become. William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude of mind." Let that sink in. You don't need to win the lottery. You don't need to be born into the perfect family. You don't need the stars to align. You need a decision. You need a posture of mind that says, "I will not live this life on my knees." But before you can have the right attitude toward life, you must confront the most neglected relationship you'll ever have. The relationship you have with yourself. We are so familiar with ourselves, we stop seeing who we really are. We take our abilities for granted. We measure our worth by our mistakes. We compare ourselves to others who, truth be told, are just as insecure as we are. And so we shrink. We fold. We doubt. We live in defense. We make excuses. We settle. Millions walk through life like ghosts in daylight, shadows of what they could be, afraid of change, afraid of growth, afraid of stepping into the discomfort that becoming demands. But you don't have to be one of them, because change isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally. Only those who welcome change, who invite it like a friend, they are the ones who remain alive in a world that tries to numb you. Attitude is willpower in motion. It's not passive. It doesn't wait for permission. It is the internal command that says, "I will be who I am meant to be, whether the world claps for me or not." Think of anyone you admire, the ones who rise, who shine, who make it look easy. They come in every size, every background, every story. But they all share one invisible trait. They expect more good out of life than bad. They expect success, not because they're special, but because they've decided to be. They've built a healthy attitude toward themselves, and from that foundation they radiate possibility. So many people live small not because they have to, but because they've never believed there was another way. But belief is a muscle, and muscles grow under pressure. So here is the challenge, a test of will, of discipline, of faith. For 30 days, act as if the world already reflects your greatest self. That's right. Walk, speak, move, decide, and lead as though you are already the person you want to become, because when you act the part, you start to become the part. Don't wait until you feel confident to behave confidently. Don't wait until success finds you to act successfully. Do it now. Build the mold, and the world will pour into it. You see, this world doesn't play favorites. It doesn't reward wishful thinking or idle hope. It responds to the expectation of success, not just the desire for it. Most people don't fail because of lack of intelligence or potential or opportunity. They fail because they didn't dare to walk like someone who could win, because they waited for permission from a world that doesn't give it. You must live with conviction before the world believes in your cause. You must become what you seek, before what you seek can find you. So here's how you start. Wake up tomorrow and carry into the world the attitude you would have if you were already living your dream life. Not arrogance, but quiet power, not entitlement, but unshakable self-respect. Treat your spouse, your children, your colleagues, even strangers, as though they are the most important people on earth, because to them, they are. And when you recognize that, they will begin to reflect back something powerful. They will reflect you. You will begin to attract what you've always been chasing, not because the world changed, but because you did. Do this, not once, not occasionally, but daily. Let it become habit. Let it sink into your posture, your tone, your breath. And soon, you will no longer be pretending. You will be becoming. That's the truth behind the so-called lucky ones, the ones who glide through life, who seem to always land on their feet. They built a habit of right attitude, and life responded in kind. They didn't wait for success. They walked like they owned it. And eventually, they did. And here's the secret most never discover. The moment you act like you belong in the top 5%, you start becoming one of them. Not because you're pretending, but because action reshapes identity. Because when you carry yourself with dignity, with expectation, with purpose, the world doesn't ignore it. It leans in. There's no committee deciding who gets to rise. No secret door, no chosen few. There's only this. The people who carry the attitude of success, long before the success arrives. It's not fake, it's alignment. A great life is not given, it's mirrored. You set the tone, and the world echoes it back. So for 30 days, just 30 days, treat every interaction, every challenge, every moment as a proving ground. Not to prove something to others, but to prove something to yourself. That you no longer walk in hesitation. That you no longer apologize for your ambition. That you will no longer carry the burden of unworthiness you didn't choose. Because here's the universal law. Whether you believe in it or not, we become what we expect. And expectation is just another name for attitude. You can't wait to feel worthy. You can't wait for the world to tell you you're enough. You have to decide that you are, and then act in accordance with that decision. Yes, it will feel unnatural at first, like putting on clothes that don't quite fit, but keep wearing them, and one day you'll realize they've become your second skin. Because identity is shaped by repetition, and transformation is born in behavior. Act successful, not arrogant, not fake, but deeply aligned with the version of you that is worthy. Worthy of love, worthy of wealth, worthy of impact, worthy of peace. That version isn't somewhere out there. It's here. Now. And it's waiting on one thing. Your permission to step forward. You've heard people say, life is dull, or life is hard, or life just doesn't work out for people like me. But here's the truth. Life is dull only to dull people. Life is hard only for those who expect it to be. Life becomes what you are. So if you want an extraordinary life, don't wait for the life. Become the extraordinary. A man once said, I was successful when I was sleeping on park benches because I already knew who I would become. That's not a delusion. That's vision. That's the posture of a man who refuses to let circumstances define destiny. Because success isn't when the money comes, or the title appears, or the house gets bigger. Success begins when you know who you are, even if no one else can see it yet. Let others chase status. Let them seek applause. You chase alignment. Because when you are aligned, in thought, in attitude, in action, everything begins to flow. Now imagine this. You step out the door tomorrow morning, not as a question mark, not as a maybe, not as a person who's waiting for something to happen, but as a force of nature, clear, deliberate, grounded. You walk into rooms with presence. You listen like you matter. You speak like your words carry weight. You move like a man or woman with direction. You don't compete. You attract. You don't beg. You become. You don't chase success. You embody it. And soon people will notice. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're lucky. They'll try to explain it. They'll say you've got that thing. But you'll know what it really is. You'll know that the magic wasn't a trick or a hack or a secret. It was your attitude. It was you, finally stepping into yourself after years of waiting, and everything will start to change. You'll find that the little things that used to irritate you fade. You'll no longer feel the need to react to every insult, every slight, every moment of ignorance. You'll pity those who act without self-awareness, because you'll know they haven't found this yet. And you'll be on the path, not the easy path, not the perfect one, but the real one, the one that belongs to you. So take this 30-day test and make it your vow. For 30 days, you will treat every human being as if they are the most important person on earth, because to them they are. And by doing this, you'll begin to form a habit that unlocks the door most never find. Have you ever noticed, the higher you go in life, the kinder people seem to be, the more generous, the more open, the easier to talk to. Why? Because they've discovered the secret. They've built the right attitude. They know that what you give to the world is what the world returns in kind. So radiate confidence, radiate well-being, radiate the attitude of someone who knows where they're going, and watch how quickly the world begins to clear a path. You don't need to control the world. You only need to control your posture toward it. And if that posture is one of strength, of dignity, of calm expectation, then success, in all its forms, becomes inevitable. Now understand this. When you carry the right attitude, you don't just change your results, you change your identity. You become a magnet for everything you once thought was out of reach. People begin to respond to you differently. Doors open that were always locked. The world rearranges itself, not because the rules changed, but because you did. You've become the mold, the foundation, the expectant receptacle, as Nightingale called it. Before a sword is forged, the fire must come. Before the masterpiece is painted, the canvas must be blank. Before a life is transformed, the mind must align. And now, you are the mold. You are the magnet. You are the vessel through which purpose takes form. So let me tell you this clearly. You are not stuck. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the moment you adopt the attitude of already being, already worthy, already ready, already enough, you begin to attract the people, the opportunities, the circumstances that match that frequency. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you stopped resisting what was always yours. You stopped living like a victim of your past and started walking like the architect of your future. And this shift, is what separates the 95% from the 5%. Not luck, not timing, not even intelligence, but attitude. Every great story you've ever admired began with a decision. A man who chose not to be ordinary, a woman who refused to accept her limits, a person who stood up in the face of failure and said, "This is not the end, I'm just getting started." They carried themselves differently. They expected more, not just from life, but from themselves. They weren't waiting for the world to change. They were becoming the change. So what does this mean for you? Today, right now? It means this. You already have everything it takes, but you've got to act like it. You've got to walk like it. You've got to live like it, not someday, but now. You want respect? Start giving it. You want success? Start showing up like someone who deserves it. You want peace? Stop feeding the chaos, because your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner posture. And if your posture says, "I am ready, I am capable, I am becoming," then the world will nod and say, "Yes, yes you are." So remember these truths, not just with your mind, but with your life. Your attitude at the beginning of anything will determine how it ends. Your attitude toward others will shape their attitude toward you. You cannot, and will not, succeed alone. You must become the person who is worthy of the life you desire. The higher you rise, the more refined your attitude must become. Your mind can only hold one dominant thought, so make it a positive one. Every soul you meet wants to feel important, so give them that gift. Every person carries a lesson, so stay humble enough to learn. Stop broadcasting your pain to people who can't fix it. Don't talk about your health unless it's good. Radiate confidence, not arrogance, not performance, but a quiet power that speaks for itself. And for 30 days, just 30 days, treat every person like they matter, because they do. And when you do that, you'll discover something profound. You no longer need to chase success, because now, success starts chasing you. You won't have to scream for the world's attention. The world will lean in to hear your whisper. You won't have to pretend you're enough. You'll know you are. So if you take nothing else from this, remember this one line. The line that carries all the weight of this message, all the wisdom of the decades behind it. Success or failure in any undertaking is caused more by mental attitude than by mental capacity. That's not a theory. That's not motivation. That is a universal law, a principle, a truth that has stood through empires, eras, and evolutions. So rise, not tomorrow, not later. Now choose the attitude that reshapes your life, because the magic word has been within you all along, and now you know how to use it.